Right, it's finally time to have a look at this rust on this MX5. Now I've finished messing about reviewing stereos and installing CarPlay. I suppose I should get round to doing the things that this thing needs to pass an MOT. I'm going to chuck it up on some axle stands so we can actually have a look underneath and work on this properly, because it's hard to get to with it on the floor. So, bear with. Right, after jacking the car up, we're on a couple of axle stands, still got the jack under there as well just in case. Taking the wheel off, we can now have a quick look on the wheel arch. This is the crusty bit we're talking about. Yeah, that's the whole back of the sills gone. I had to put an axle stand on the chassis rail instead of the pinch weld, because I have a feeling we're going to be grinding all some of this away to get to fresh metal. I think the next step is to take this splash guard out of the way, and we can properly have a look what's under there, and then we'll have a look underneath as well. With the inner arch liner foam thing out the way, I've just tucked it out over there for now. We can see behind here, and it's not good. This is quite soft, so we can have a poke around. Conveniently, I think on these MX5s, this is plastic, so this will unclip and we can move that out of the way. So at least we won't have to do any like pretty painting to make the sill look nice, because it's all hidden behind this plastic thing. So as long as it's welded and protected properly, it's one less job. But then if we come just around here, having a look underneath, yes, that is not ideal. That is a big old hole. Right, I'm going to work at taking this off, because I imagine this is going to get slightly out of hand. While I was just taking this off, we wonder why these things rot. The amount of stuff collected down in here, especially at the front. I've made a good job of breaking every single trim clip behind here, but they're easily replaceable. That we can just hot glue back onto the back of there, but every single one of these trim clips are snapped. But they're only cheap little parts. So I imagine that all pops off. And then I think, looking at the clips at the bottom, here, they're slotted, so I imagine the whole panel goes that way. At a guess, it'll press off. Right, got this sill trim off, so we can have a look. So if we start with the good bits, it's pretty solid on the outside. I mean, there's a little bit of scabbiness on the edge, but I think if we come inside, this is where it begins. That, probably can't see it on camera, that is very flexible. Oh dear. So that's the fixing for the... That's just all under seal that's got water behind it and corroded out. But this is... doesn't take... Getting to about here is where it kind of stops flexing, but that's very thin. So I'm going to need to take a section of that out. And similarly, the inner of the sill is, a bit rough. I mean, coming up as high as here, that's solid. So I think it's just this corner section here. So I'm going to have to make this edge again. Looking in there, yeah, it's time to see how bad this actually is. There's no point messing about. I've got one of these paint rust removal disc things on my angle grinder. Two very important things: make sure you've got hearing protection and safety glasses, because this is going to shoot rust everywhere. I'm going to remove all the paint, under seal, loose bits of rust until I'm down to solid metal. There's no point keeping fluffy bits. We're going to do this once, so might as well do it properly the first time. Now that the majority of the top layer sticky paint stuff's out of the way, there's actually some pretty solid metal underneath. I've got now a cutting disc on the angle grinder, so I can lose some of this and get rid of some of the bits that we don't want, and then kind of assess what we've got to weld to. Luckily on this top section here, that's pretty solid up to about there, so we can do a nice straight line there and just place in that section. The inner sill, although it's crusty, is solid, so I'm going to get some rust converter, get that in there, get that painted so it doesn't get any worse, and then at least we've got something solid to stick to. This line of seam sealer in the corner's completely rotted out, so we'll take that out. But looking at the outer sill here as well, that's pretty solid too. So I only need to clean that bit up. I might have to replace the little donga where the what was there? Where the plastic trim goes. Might have to replace that, but little tiny things. But yeah, this is the worst bit. We'll get rid of that first. Having cut this section out now, you can see that the inner structure of the car is actually solid. It's just this wheel arch section and sill section that's actually corroded away. This piece isn't the best, so I'm going to neatly trim that there. I mean, a piece of advice when you're cutting holes in your car, as you do, go in straight lines if you can, because it's then easier to replace the panelling straight lines. There's no point doing intricate cuts to then have to cut a piece out to weld in the hole when you could have just cut a square. The whole bottom edge of this wheel arch is disintegrated, but my later plans for this, I might not actually need that bit there anyway, so I'm not going to put the extension on when I weld it. Having a look now I've removed all the crusty bits out of the way, it's a pretty easy welding job because you've only got this section here which needs replacing. I'm going to have to make a little closure panel for the bottom because that needs to be enclosed there. I'll square that off so it's just a nice square piece. And then I've got this small hole that's between the inner sill. Well, it's on the inner sill, but it's just on the back section. Past that point, it's pretty good. There's just some surface rust on the inner sill, but it's damn solid. And the outer sill's absolutely fine. So I'll dress this edge back up again, and then we'll just seal and paint that. Put a little panel in there, one there. Put some good seam sealer, under sealer on it, and should be all right. I'm not going to film everything because there'll just be hours of me grinding, but these are coming useful as well. They're twisted wire brushes. They've got angle grinders. Eye protection and ear protection is a must with these things because these little things fire out at 100 miles an hour themselves in every known orifice. So yeah, I'm just going to remove all this surface rust, try and remove all this surface rust in here, get this all clean so we've got nice surfaces to weld to. And then we'll go about seating in that hole. And then we can stick some new metal to this, I think. I've just been poking up under here as well. I've finally got a solid piece under here because it just kept going on and on and on. But it's not too bad. We've just got some plates to make. I say it like it's easy. It's time consuming, but easy. Right, now I'm at a stage where I've got all of the rust away that I can with power tools and hand tools and whatever. I'm going to rust treat all this bit on the inside that I can't get to. And then I'm going to go and have some lunch because then it's got time to cure. Personally, I use this stuff, which is Hammerite Crust. There's plenty of products on the market that do the same job. Little tip though, always put it in a pot. Use a brush and then chuck away the bit you're not using, because if you put the brush in the pot, you'll convert the whole pot and then it's useless. I learned that the hard way. So we're going to do that. Also put some on the floor because this thing stains worse than you've ever seen. So yeah, I'm going to do that and then go and have some lunch, and then we'll come back till this will all turn purple. Some time has passed and I'm still waiting for this stuff to dry, but while I'm waiting, I've got my finest pizza box ready for some CAD. Cardboard only design, if you hadn't have guessed. I've got a Sharpie and I'm just going to mark out the rough shapes I need. So it's easy. It's a damn sight easier to make them out of cardboard and then trace them onto metal than it is to try and measure them onto metal first. This is so much quicker. I'm going to start with this outer one, and then once I've got that, and then I can work on what shape needs to go underneath. Right, after that craft activity, I've now got a selection of bits of card. I've put numbers on them so I know which orders to fit them. I'm going to cut these out of steel now, and then I can go about making sure they fit in their prescribed places. I can't actually weld anything at the moment yet, because all this crust stuff's still wet, and I want to fire some paint down the arch as well. Up, sill. I've got out my trusty sheet of, I think it's 1.5 mil. It might be 2 mil. No, it's not that thick. Probably 1.6 mil. Steel that I've had lying around for ages, and there's a fixed mini car. So yeah, lay out all your stencils, templates, whatever you want to call them. We're going to draw around them and then cut them out with the angle grinder, as I don't have any tin strips. Right, now I'm drawing them all out on the piece of steel. I can go about cutting these out. You can use tin strips if you have them, but I don't, so next best thing. Once you very carefully cut out all your pieces, make sure you deburr all the edges as well, because there's nothing worse than having sharp bits and not clean edges to weld to. Use something like a flat disc. It's just sandpaper that whizzes very quickly, and it does very light work of just taking all these burrs off that you've left when you cut them out. It means that when you weld, you're A, not going to cut yourself, and B, you've got a nice clean edge to weld to. Now I've got all my bits cut out and deburred properly, I think we're going to end this video here. If I do the welding in this one, it's going to be in a long video. So in the next one, I'll start the welding and do all the painting and the sealing. And then from there, we can go on to fixing the crusty arches that are left as well that I haven't even started yet. I'll try and get the welding done soon, so this isn't too much of a break between the videos, but I'll see.